Namaste, angels. This is the full moon in Leo reading. So actually, this is the second one. The first one, it got Mercury retrograded. I don't know what happened to it. I've been having a lot of problems. Maybe understandably so, because I have a lot of Mercury in my chart. I'm a Gemini Sun. A few other things. My Ceres is in Gemini, the asteroid. My Venus and my Mercury are both in Gemini. So yeah. I guess it's to be expected that every now and then, at least, if not on every occasion, I get Mercury retrograded, and I did this time. It doesn't matter because everything happens for a reason, and the cards that I am starting with today are super super interesting. So before I start the reading, and there's some stuff I want to tell you about them. The first one from the Keepers of the Light Oracle is Quan Yin. She came up a lot this weekend in the love and general reading that I did, and the purple, of course, has been coming up quite a bit in general, and I've talked about it a few times. I've mentioned that for one thing, purple or amethyst is one of the birthstones of the sign of Aquarius. And of course, we have entered the season of Aquarius, as well as some would argue the age of Aquarius. Now, basing it on like math, if we were doing it based on math, and when it was said to occur, it's really like 50 years off. So maybe those people were wrong. And by those people, I mean people like what's the scientist that was in the wheelchair that passed away a few years ago? He's one of the people that had calculated it. In any case, I don't. I'm going to start the reading off going into the weeds, and I don't want to do that. So Kuan Yin is a mother energy, a virgin mother energy. So you can think of her maybe as like the Buddhist equivalent of Mary in the Christian religion. She was born of a lotus flower. And sometimes, speaking of Aquarius, she holds in her hand, in one hand is a willow. I'm not sure what the willow is about. We'll have to look that up. And in the other hand is a vase or vase, right? I pronounce it vase. But I'm trying, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm saying vase, like you put flowers in, vase. So she has one, and it's said to have like the nectar of life in it, which is interesting. But she's like a goddess of fertility and all these things, and like the earthly. Like I said, she was born of a lotus flower, so that's like earthly things too, an earth connection to nature and stuff, and that may be what the willow is about as well. And I'm making a big deal out of that because this reading will go through the 11th of February because that's when the next moon occurs. So I guess the 10th of February. And the next major moon event occurs on the 11th, and that's the new moon in Aquarius. And then the day after that is the Chinese New Year. And we begin the year of the metal ox. So every element in the Chinese zodiac goes through a 12-year cycle, right? Because there's 12 zodiac signs. So I don't know when's the last year it was ox, but I know the last cycle was fire, and we moved into metal. Something else I've been feeling a lot about since last year. And the ox is also attached to like earthly energies and like the energies of what we would think of as an earth sign or related to earth signs in the Western zodiac. These are hardworking people that are attached to the energy of the ox. Hardworking people, they don't always like stand out and get a bunch of attention, but their like greatness will be recognized by the work that they produce. So doesn't that sound like an earth sign? And there was a lot of earth sign stuff that came up over the weekend too in the other readings that I did. So that's why I'm making mention of this. The ox is also connected to the yin principle, as in yin and yang, and that is the female principle. And also, I'm just making note again of her name, Quan Yin, as in female principle. So that may mean something. It's just why I wanted to point it out. I'll do this one last. So moving on to the angel and animal tarots, we begin with the Queen of Swords, who is experienced, self-sufficient, brilliant, and funny. All of your life experiences have prepared you for this moment of truth. It's time to declutter your home, to clear away situations that aren't working for you anymore, and to disengage from people who create more drama than happiness. And we see they chose a leopard, interestingly, for the Queen of Swords. So it was giving me, Leo feels, even though it's a leopard, not a lion. And then I also had some thoughts about like animal instinct, which of course, refers to just an innate, like from your nature, way of doing things, the behaviors that you have. And the Queen of Swords, her energy can be about following just that, like those things. Like when she shows up upright, tends to mean that your instincts are serving you well. And that if there is something that you need to do, you already know what it is or what you need in order to accomplish, this thing. And all that's left to do is to do it. Like to trust those feelings, those thoughts. She's like super smart and psychic and, in tune. And so she's got the right idea. She can be a forceful energy too. So that, I don't know, I was like, maybe because though it's the wolf moon, but I was thinking about animals. There's some sort of connection to animals here. And I think the fact that she is so forceful that she can sometimes come across as abrasive. And a wolf is like one of those animals that is so beautiful. I had a pet wolf as a child, actually. Got stolen. But anyway, it can be so, loving, but it still has this natural instinct. Like at the end of the day, it's not a dog. It's a wild animal. It's a wolf. And I think that's going to mean something to us too. I'm just not sure what yet. Maybe it'll be revealed in the reading, which is why I want to share with you. And the last of my very interesting thoughts. I have one that kind of connects these two. Food and hunger. And I don't know if you can see in my arms, like I'm getting chills. I have the hairs in my arms are standing up. So it's like they want me to talk about this. Food and hunger. So the food and hunger, I think, is it can be very literal for some of us. The textbook meaning of this card is that in a past life, or I think in potentially in your past in general, you may have had you may have wanted for food. You may not have always been full, or you may not have always known where the money was going to come from to buy the food, or the refrigerator, or the cupboard may have sometimes been, barren. Maybe you had to, go down to a church or something and get whatever they were handing out at those lines, where they donate food to families and stuff that we see so many of now on the news. I can't think of the name of it, but I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Like you go to like these churches or community venues and they, they give you like a bag of beans and a bag of rice and some cereal, like these sustainable things, cans of vegetables and stuff. Food pantry. I don't know why I couldn't think of it. Food pantry. And we're seeing so many of those now, like on the news and these like human interest stories and stuff, because people are freaking going hungry because of this pandemic and, global crisis, economic crisis. And this card shows up representative of the fear of going without that's associated, with the potential for being hungry. And it shows up to remind us something else that I talked about over the weekend in either the general or the love or both, is that it's really important to have this mindset of abundance and not lack. And it's not always easy to develop. We have sometimes in our subconscious, buried from our past or from a past life, fears that we otherwise wouldn't confront or even think about, even realize we had. That those come up to be dealt with, and sometimes just acknowledging that that's the case and reminding ourselves, hey, I do believe in abundance. I can shift my thoughts and my mentality to and release this fear. That's the purpose of the card coming up, or the energy coming up, so that it can be like addressed and released and you can move on. That's what karmic completion is about. Somebody could have, I also talked about like addictions and stuff, and I think the general reading, and that could be associated with this card too. Addictions, eating disorders, but where it's not tangible, and why I think it came up sort of like for the collective, for all of us, is because where it's not tangible, it can be attached to just fear of where your next paycheck, your next meal, and all those things are going to come from. And sometimes we can have those fears even if we have a job, even if we have food, because it is attached to some time in the past, or past life when we didn't. Sometimes we eat too much because of it. So like when I say eating disorder, I don't necessarily mean one where you're thin, where anorexia or bulimia. Those are eating disorders that could be, you could be created by this, but so is, overeating, leading to like obesity or hoarding food and stuff. So that's that. That's the actual meaning of the card, and why I think we're beginning with it, because of the pandemic and stuff. And like the really crucial time that we're in within the pandemic, like the whole thing is a crucial time. But right now we're really at a point where we have like officials, politicians arguing over how much money, how much help to provide to the people. So it can be kind of scary for somebody. And I think that, again, I think that's why it's coming up. But the two of them together, the animal instinct and the food and hunger, and the fact that this is the wolf moon, I was reminded of the Duran Duran song. I'm absolutely dating myself. Duran Duran song, Hungry Like the Wolf. Somebody gifted me like a 45. So again, I'm dating myself. A single of Hungry Like the Wolf in 5th grade, St. Patrick's School. Maybe it was Christmas. I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was my birthday. I don't recall why, but I remember one of my fellow students gave me Hungry Like the Wolf as a gift. So I know it's from the 80s. So I went ahead and brought up the lyrics to that one. But now that I think about it, in the 90s, there was this group called the Cranberries. They made a song also called Animal Instinct. I don't know the words for that one, and I didn't bring that up. But let me quickly let you know what Hungry Like the Wolf is about. Again, just in case it comes up during the reading. And let's see, I'm going to my computer. Okay. This may be somebody's life I'm about to read about. Did y'all know I am clairaudient too? All right. Dark in the city. Night is a wire. Steam in the subway. Earth is afire. Woman, you want me. Give me a sign. And catch my breathing even closer behind. In touch with the ground. I'm on the hunt. I'm after you. I smell like I sound. I'm lost in a crowd, and I'm hungry like the wolf. Straddle the line in discord and rhyme. I'm on the hunt, I'm after you. Mouth is alive with juices like wine. And I was just talking about nectar with this, so that could be tied to it, I don't know. And I'm hungry like the wolf. Then the chorus, and then in touch with the ground. I'm on the hunt, I'm after you. A scent and a sound. I'm lost and I'm found. and I'm hungry like the wolf. Strut on a line, it's discord and rhyme. I howl, I whine, I'm after you. Mouth is alive, all running inside, and I'm hungry like the wolf. Burning the ground, I break from the crowd, I'm on the hunt, I'm after you. I smell like I sound, I'm lost and I'm found, and I'm hungry like the wolf. Strut on a line, it's discord and rhyme. I'm on a hunt, I'm after you. Mouth is alive with juices like wine, and I'm hungry like the wolf. Burning the ground, I break from the crowd. I'm on the hunt, I'm after you. A scent and a sound, I'm lost and I'm found, and I'm hungry like the wolf. And then it just repeats, and that's the end of it. So, I don't know if anything will come up connected to that, but I just felt like I needed to share it with you. And now we'll move on to the actual cards. So I already showed you what was on top, and I'll do a little bit of shuffle, just so the whole thing is organic. Speaking of the earth, there's Gaia. There's Saint Germain and more purple and karma releasing. Kali Ma keeps showing up in reverse. Happy about that. Let's do one more. Krishna, devotion. Trust your spiritual guidance. Your commitment has been recognized. You are loved unconditionally. Biblical. King of Cups, trustworthy, compassionate, respected, and cultured. Open your heart and mind to those around you. Trustworthy and heartfelt advice and charity work. The King of Cups is a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. He is super romantic and generous and awesome. Really good card for not just love and romance, but connections in general. All right, so actually I'm going to use all three of these for this spread. Divine being, recent past, near future, masculine higher self, blocks to individual or shared progress, what the feminine can do to help herself, the masculine can, yin, yang, and what the universe wants to help us with, and the outcome. Taking the cups there. But also with a message from the Keepers of the Light Oracle. And to what from the past this is potentially connected, or we could be releasing and letting go of, finishing with this full moon, or between now and the new moon. So again, the overall energies are the King of Cups, Krishna, and biblical. Divine being or couple. The Two of Wands, very nice. Your vision, creativity, and dedication to your cause have brought you great success. In fact, it may be in your best interest to get a partner to assist you in your endeavors, or to expand the number of people who are helping you. The Two of Wands, well, first of all, twos are about partnership, relationships. They're also about faith, and the faith in terms of manifestation, and the ability, again, to attract abundance, believing that it will really come to you, or that your manifestation will be successful, is what the two is about. But also, this is like the soulmate or the twin flame card of the tarot. And look what it's partnered with. Boom. I waited to tell you that their faith. The card about faith is attached to faith from the divine, the Keepers of the Light Oracle. Humanity and benevolence. Stay calm. Trust the good in yourself and others, and see the light in the world. So 2 messages here together from 2 different decks about the need to have faith in your manifestations. We have medicine man or woman, which is like an equivalent of the magician. The magician is all about manifestation. So this is a very strong period of manifestation, and it's the faith phase. So like the manifestation begins with the 1 and the thoughts or words that we think or speak over ourselves, put into the universe. 2 is the faith that they'll come to pass, right? The belief that that's what's going to happen. That's why we can sometimes mess ourselves up, because if we have fear, that's a belief that something negative is going to happen, right? And so we attract that. So the idea of the positive thoughts is to repel those things and to attract the abundance, the positivity. Recent past. The 10 of Wands. You're working far too hard, and the stress will soon become too much. Reach out for help from others and take some time to play and to enjoy life. So this can be about a need to nurture oneself, or about being really super busy. Like the most positive meaning for me is just having a lot going on in your life that's not necessarily negative or bad. You're just very busy, and there's not like much time for rest and stuff. And it's important to remember to rest and to nurture yourself and take care of yourself, because if you're not like healthy, then you can't get these things accomplished anyway. You let yourself down, you let the other people that are involved down. More negatively, It can be about like you just not getting help, like people constantly piling upon you, and you're beginning to feel, sort of stressed out and buried by it all. It can also be about having already like passed that point, and now you're into an area where like your pressure's going up, so things that can cause physical harm to yourself, like stress, can things you can end up unwell as a result of, because it's you just have too much happening in your life, and it's a lot for one person to carry, and should be shared, right? Burdens should be shared. Like this, like in a partnership. The Miriam, sacred vision. Choose to forgive in order to heal. See the light in all, and remember that love has no boundaries. So if somebody was like piling upon you, or it would be a group of people, could be, doesn't have to be one other person, just life putting upon you. It's okay to forgive yourself for having taken on too much, and it's okay to forgive those people for having done that. But the idea is to resolve the issue. Like, okay, this is too much for one person. I need you guys to recognize, that I am as human as you, and I need a break, or I need, some help here, or whatever the case is. And it's attached with food and hunger. So this can be about one person trying to provide, like for a whole family, and, or, for several people. Maybe you're a business owner and you just feel like the responsibility of the world on your shoulders because you got all these employees that, you sort of help to feed through their work. So it could be things, different things like that. You see how it applies to you in your own life. And the idea is, again, to focus on positive and manifestation and attracting abundance, and also to take a break, maybe spend some time being social or getting some rest, and or, to ask people to help you, or, seek assistance or help however you can get it. Assistance and help in terms of putting food on the table could be some of these programs and things too. It doesn't have to necessarily be another person. Near future. Boom. The Magician. Okay, so in the near future, you will take on this endeavor, to manifest your needs and your dreams, which is positive, which is good. There's magic in the air, and you can manifest everything you need to be successful. The Magician most directly represents the sign of Gemini. So the Mercury, that affected me, not so great. I mean, I'm not, crying over it or whatever. It is what it is. But the Mercury, could be more positive in somebody else's life, maybe. Could be more positive in my own, and then, another date. But, this weekend with the videos, with my computer in general, was so slow. Like, just to change pages, and I'm like, what is going on? And today I had to, like, re-put in my passwords for my regular things, like my email and stuff. So something happened. I don't know what. In any case, paired here with the Magician, we have Lady Nada and Heart Awakening. Awaken to acceptance and divine love. Give and receive in balance. And so that's like the complete opposite of the Ten of Wands, right? The Ten of Wands is being out of balance. It's one person, carrying the burden. And Lady Nada is speaking of, again, shared burdens, shared experiences, and the ability to both give and receive in the near future. Maybe between an actual couple. I mean, for some of us, this could be a romantic reading. It's here also crossing the Two of Wands, which again is the soulmate or twin flame card of the tarot, and the card from the past life deck that shows up with it is male female. This could have something to do with this being a provider and stuff too. But the card means textbook is that, like in your previous life, if you're a female now, you were probably a male before, and vice versa. It may also be tied to the yin and yang that, came up in my mind before the reading. Masculine's higher self. The moon. Oh, wow. This is super interesting. Okay, the moon, Major Arcana card 18, represents the sign of Pisces, and it has, again, another cat. Yeah, another cat. This is a lynx, but it's very Leo moon once again. It's important to trust your intuition, even if you're unsure of what's happening. All will be revealed soon, so worry is unnecessary. So it's here topping this, again, this Ten of Wands that can be about worry and stress and the need for rest or to be social because you've just been doing too much work. And this is saying, like, go ahead and take the guidance to maybe put that on the back burner and to be social or to get some sleep or whatever. And don't worry about the work. Follow the guidance and don't worry about why you're being told. Just, have faith and go with it. And it's paired with Mercury. That's why I was saying it's so interesting because we did have, not simultaneously, but very close together. But with the 28th, the full moon, and then the 30th, Mercury went full on retrograde after having been in shadow for a couple weeks. So it's interesting that this is showing up here with it, but it's get a weight off your chest, speak up with love, and be heard. So that could also be some of the guidance that the masculine is receiving to get a weight off his chest and to communicate something without fear. It's tied to the moon. The moon like gifted him that. And the past life message that is tied with it is wisdom. So it's very high priestess for me. But again, this is about communication too. And is positive in terms of the communication. Like there's no reason for him to fear the communication. Blocks to individual or shared progress. Not putting your foot down when you make a decision. Not standing up for yourself. Defend your beliefs and decisions. Stand your ground. Choose your battles wisely. Well, who knows better about choosing battles than Diana? Focused intention, right? The goddess of war. Think about what you desire. Set your sights high. Expect the best possible outcome. So this too is speaking to that need to then focus on the fact that we're going to be successful in what we're manifesting. But speaking of battles, we've got 3 cards, one from each deck that refers to battles, right? So this one is about choosing your battles, but standing your ground. Then we have the goddess of war. She's telling us really to avoid battles if we can. Instead, just focus on our intentions and what we're trying to do in our lives. And it's attached to a past life issue about wars and battles. Which is it's pretty straightforward and kind of means what it says. But I think I'll read this one from the book. Our challenges. Wars and battles. This card indicates that you suffered or were killed in a war in a previous lifetime. Your unconscious will tell you whether you were a soldier, an officer, or a civilian who was a casualty during a battle. That lifetime could have turned you into a pacifist, or it could have made you into a conflict phobic person, and you cannot stand any measure of violence. So I think that meaning connects the most directly. You're conflict phobic, and that may be why you're afraid to stand your ground, and defend yourself when you make a decision. You cannot stand any measure of violence or even loud voices. Conflict phobia prevents relationships from deepening, as part of the authenticity stems from sharing your true feelings with the other. Conversely, that lifetime may have filled your heart with anger and the desire for revenge. In such a case, you would have difficulty controlling your temper. This may even lead to addictions in your attempts to bring about peace. If you have that natural warrior spirit, it's important to channel it in the peaceful and constructive ways. It's funny because I say that the 7 of Wands represents warrior spirit. For instance, being an activist for political or positive social change or a legal advocate who champions underdogs could be a way to um, heal that, is what they're suggesting, or to channel that energy in more positively. So that's the block or the challenge. And then what the feminine can do to help herself to resolve it. Speaking of addictions, we have the Ten of Swords. The end of a career path, project, or relationship brings feelings of mixed joy and sadness, relief and disappointment. Put aside those fears about these changes and trust that a brighter future awaits. And that is paired with hope, love, and acceptance. Love is yours. Recognize your divine worth and choose loving thoughts. And also paired with mother. Now, in the book, this is a positive card about having had a positive relationship with your mother in a past life, and then therefore like bringing her into your present life in some aspect. Not necessarily a mother-child dynamic in both cases, but it's about like coming into this lifetime and sharing. But I think that it might be showing up here in terms of a need to nurture yourself and to be positive, right? Having hope and getting through something that comes to an end, or that changes in a way that is both, how they put it, brings about mixed feelings of joy and sadness. That's something else that I talked about over the weekend in the other readings. What the masculine can do to help himself with regard to the wars and battles and the Seven of Wands and stuff is first the Knight of Wands. Passionate, adventurous, self-assured, and restless. A sudden event that needs immediate attention. So he has to take some sort of action to help himself. Time is of the essence. Think things through carefully. The action could involve an actual Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. And it may involve you doing something for somebody else, and or again manifestation, prayer. For me, prayer and focused intention, the law of putting the law of attraction to work, it's all the same thing. Connect with heaven and ask and you shall receive. So this is about asking that your needs be met and having that focused intention. Also forgiveness associated with that, maybe for what somebody did to you, instead of going to war with them or taking revenge and battling. Forgiveness, but also there's always room for forgiveness with your, of yourself too, to be involved in these things. What the universe wants to help us with: the Four of Wands. Peace, happiness, contentment, relationship. That's what the universe wants to help us with. Contentment, peace, and abundance. A happy home life and the successful completion of a project. And that one is tied to Mary Magdalene. Teacher awakens. So the universe wants to help us by getting clarity or helping somebody else to gain clarity. You have something important to share. Yes. Follow the inner call and don't let anything stop you. And that is also tied with Celtic and this cross. Celtic. Maybe that too has to do with the earthly. It's a very green, the card. And maybe like the druids, fairies, the earth. Because those would be like tree people. Maybe that's where the willow comes in. The willow that Quan Yin holds. Also, there could be people watching that have an attraction to, like Ireland and Scotland and Wales, those places, the islands over there, the culture could be tied to religiosity, especially with Mary Magdalene showing up, maybe Christianity. That could be what the war is over. Maybe a decision to break free of like religion and or some sort of restriction in ideology, perhaps with regard to the feminine, or both. I mean, because we all have a masculine and feminine. The way that your mother raised you, very religious or with certain beliefs, our overall energy is also biblical. So maybe that's it. Yeah, I feel like it has something to do with spirituality versus religion for most people, and that's been the struggle, wars and battles, like trying to find and the balance. Talking about the Ten of Wands and the balance, trying to strike the balance between the belief systems that you know held for a long time and what you've been awakened to on your journey, and trying to then strike that balance so that you can find some sort of peace, because it's been a struggle. And the outcome, very nice. The Nine of Cups is all about successful manifestation. It's your wish comes true. So it's about your prayers being answered. Concerns fade away and you have a love of life. So all those things that if we put our minds to these changes, and again, make that shift to the positive thought, we can successfully, by the end of this cycle, and maybe by the new moon, at least have put something in motion to be manifesting what we ultimately want. And speaking of earth energy being involved, the last card from the Keepers of the Light Oracle for the outcome is Cernunnos and Life Force. Express your driving passion. Sensual and sexual powers are also increased. That's nice. And transportation from the past life deck. So this could be speaking to movement, right? In terms of change, movement, development, building, growth. Maybe part of the manifestation. What else? Well, one of the meanings of the transportation card is that it's potentially connected to when things used to be powered by like crystals and solar. And I did notice when I picked up the biblical card, our overall energy, the next card is Atlantis. And I've been talking about the crystals and the earth, the amethyst. Let's see. The amethyst. The Aquarius. There's something about Quan Yin being like a water bearer, because I told you she has that vase with the liquid in it, the nectar of life. Nectar of life. I think this is about awakening, right, to like new modes of transportation and movement, right? Whether for some it could be literal. And we have a bunch of stuff going on right now around the world with like these pipelines and oil. There's actually oil, I think, being transported via train right now because President Biden in the United States shut down the Keystone Pipeline, which is very good. It had, really damaging effects. At one time, I remember there was some sort of spill or leak or something, and it like destroyed a bunch of farms. I haven't heard from farmers. I haven't seen. Let me know if you've seen on the news any of the farmers saying how they feel about it, because there's people complaining that he did that, but there's also people cheering it on. So that could be one message in terms of like real time in life. Like we began with the food and hunger, and I said that might be tied to the pandemic, and this could be tied to the environment at large as well, in terms of like clean energy, coming up with new things, maybe in on a smaller scale in our own personal lives, making changes that will be healthier for us and for the environment. Maybe getting a new car, going electric, instead of fuel. I think ultimately though it's about growth, expansion. There's a lot of really heavy but yet positive messages in this reading, and I hope that you guys that I was able to convey them, and I'm not just sitting here the only person that could see it. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed it. Please do like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hit both the subscribe button and the bell button. I appreciate it. Thanks. Namaste.